All right, we're back on Mimas. Now, last episode I mentioned that we were probably going to work on the gas fuel generator. I might refer to it as GFG, kind of as we're going along here, just as a heads up. So over here I set up a little area for us to work with. I moved the GFG and some other components over here. I printed a pressure regulator. I'll go over that later. I was thinking that we might have already done that, but apparently not. Okay, let's paint that. I wanted to paint it before going inside because when you paint things, it emits pollutants. And I suppose I might not have even waited long enough. No, I did. Nope. No, I think those pollutants were were in here before. Okay, I'll switch that off. I'm gonna open my helm and grab a drink of water. Gonna be a bit of a waste of a mushroom because you can't eat a partial cooked mushroom. You gotta eat the whole thing. Now, the reason we came in here is I'm gonna grab some more oxygen in this canister. And I'm gonna check here because I noticed in some of my testing here that there was carbon dioxide. Yeah, there's carbon dioxide in there. That's not great. It's not the end of the world, but something I should try to avoid. Top that one off too. I'll explain what I'm doing with this canister later. In part, I'm also probably going to just run low and need to swap. But there is an actual reason that I want it as well. For now, though, we're going to tuck it away over here. And I forgot to grab something from here related to that. One of these pipe utilities. I think I've shown you the insulated variant of the pipe utilities, but not these. And you can see that it does have the inline gas tanks still, but it also has gas tank storage. And you can see that looks a lot like a canister, and that would be why, is because it's specifically designed to accept a canister. Now on here, we're going to print some more medium radiators. And I need invar for that. Trapped in there. There we go. Set to 20. Good. Oh, missed it. Not that before it rolls way too far. Stuff all that stuff back in there. Okay. So radiators. Now I need some steel. Let's go ahead and split that off because I think I need some steel for this printer. There we go. Okay, so that's going to print us 4 of those. And on this one, we want a laptop. Need more gold. Yes, I was hoping that I could avoid getting into the IC, the IC10, because that's pretty in depth. The MIPS programming language is a little rough. I don't expect like the majority of players to really gravitate to that content, which is why I was kind of holding off, but it's kind of the best way to go in this instance. Alternatively, I could have a whole bunch of the logic processors that you've seen before, but I would need quite a few of them. There we go. So we have our laptop. Now, before I switched it, take a look there. See how it has 5.5 copper required. So we actually have a little bit of lingering copper in there. So I'm just going to print one cable coil. IC editor. So the laptop is kind of our portable way of editing the IC chips, but you still need the editor in it. Let's grab the laptop here, just drag the motherboard right into there. The power requirements of a laptop are really, really small. I just right click to turn it on and off, and that's what controls the lid. We're going to print an IC10, or actually I think I'll print another one when I'm done. And then we're going to also want an IC housing. I might need to load in more steel. Let's go ahead and grab those out. While I'm at it, while that is printing, I'm going to bring this stuff over here. Yeah, I'll just put it in there. Put that next to there because that's for that canister. There's our IC10. Nope, good. We have the IC housing. And I think we're going to run out of steel before we can print that one. Because I have another application for an IC10 coming up pretty soon. Let me double check to make sure I have everything printed I need to. Yep, it looks good. Okay. Yep. So we'll just switch that stuff off. We got what we needed from there, so we'll switch that one off as well. And I think the IC housing will end up going right there. Prototyped this a couple times. I did a cut of it and things were going weird, so I just scrapped it. Well, that and it was just taking way too long. It was like 42 minutes. Okay, so the first radiator I'm going to put here, and we're using the variant that works well in vacuum. There we go, and the output is facing this way. Weld them up. Had a bunch of spare sheets from my steel frames. Okay, let's get the shell laid out. So yeah, we'll put a composite window there. This we'll just do the regular wall type 1 on the rest. Those take plastic sheets to finish. The quick thing to note here, if you're having trouble building up a composite window, you can see right here I should be able to, but it's just not appearing. Sometimes you can kind of find the sweet spot in it, but I recommend just trying to find like an edge of it that's not being used and finish it that way. Sometimes, you know, you have something that has all 6 faces filled in, and that can be rough. I guess my advice there is just leave the window, or do the window earlier in the stage. Okay, I think we want this right here. So a pressure regulator. Sorry, struggling with this thing here. I want right about there. A pressure regulator will push the gas from the input side, obviously, and try and regulate, trying to keep the pressure on the output side in accordance with the settings on the dial here. So being as it's 50 kPa, it will try on this side to keep it set to 50 kPa. Let me uproot this here quick so I can show you a different variant. I'm only going to cover the first 2. There's 2 more, but those are to deal with liquids. So there's also the back pressure regulator. This one works kind of the reverse. It has 50 kPa here, which means it will grab from the input side gas until the input side is 50 kPa. But yes, in this instance, we want the regular version, the pressure regulator, not the back pressure regulator. We're going to set this pretty low. Whoops. Let's start it at 10 and probably kind of ramp it up as it goes, or as we go. Find the right spot for it. This is going to be the fuel line for the gas fuel generator. And you can see, okay, right now it's facing the wrong way. We're going to face it this way. So you've got an input and an output for gas. The input is, as I said, the fuel. The output is a hot waste gas. So we're going to take that one, and we're going to bring it up and bring it over, and we're going to link it to this pipe network, which, if you recall correctly, is the tank down there for our furnace. So yep, I'm using regular pipes at first here, and then I'm going to use adhesive insulation to convert them into insulated pipes, because we want to keep as much of that heat as we can. Oh, right at 20. And then I've got some already insulated ones that I'll use to actually link it up. I didn't want to link it until we have all these insulated. Because it would start cooling that gas down. It wouldn't, you know, with a relatively short pipe like this, it wouldn't make a huge difference, but, you know, since I can take the precaution to avoid that, I will. Okay, that actually did chew up a pipe. That's humorous. 4 ways, yeah. Like the cross variant, that one only takes 2 pipes, but this one up here apparently takes 3. That's the four corner variant. Oh, and we got to remember to insulate these. You don't want your gas or your fuel to explode. That would be the cause of a bad day. Okay, I forgot to move this off screen. I knew I'd have to, but I just neglected to do so. Oops, come on. There we go. I was losing where the where the indicator was. Oops. There we go. Let's do a little bit of rearranging of this cable, because not only are we putting the power into the system, we also need to take some out of the system, because we need to power that IC housing. There we go. We can't rely on this cable having power, so we have to draw this one over since we know it's connected to the battery. Is that? Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is the power. Well, let's call this base power. I think I can, yeah, I can draw it down now. The other one is that we're going to put on this side here, and actually going to bring it out a little so it'll run underneath this one. I should color these, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Color code them so that you don't mix them, because that would be bad. That would fry potentially a lot of circuits. Would at least try one. Okay. We'll wait for those cables because I got to get these active vents set up. Set them to inward. Vent coming in. I'll go over this once we have everything kind of set up. This one I'm going to leave blank for now, but this I can connect. Okay, there we go. Let's bring this one over one more, then bring it up so that we can connect it to the active vents. Probably starting to take shape a little bit here. Can kind of tell what I'm going for. Okay, and that one, yep, we'll fill that in when everything's done. I'll explain kind of why it's a problem, or why I'm leaving it empty, because there's a potential problem. Oh, I forgot the gas sensor. So we're also going to monitor the temperature inside here. So we're going to place a sensor gas sensor. Oh, come on. I have to hit the right button sometime here. Okay, that one we'll just place like that for now, because I've got to splice in this wire as well. Okay, I think everything is pretty well connected. Good. Okay, oh, interesting. This passed by something I'm gonna point out. Yoink. So what happened was in our Stirling engine kind of coolant room there, we had some carbon dioxide that came from this portable generator, and it got so cold in there that the carbon dioxide froze, and that's what these are. Pure ice carbon dioxide. Each one of those is 50 moles of carbon dioxide. Okay, I'm going to swap my O2 canister because we don't need much gas here. I'm going to place this here. I don't want to link that up just yet because we haven't finished the glass yet. So this is to prime the system. I'm going to get a little bit of gas in there, and then I'm going to use this chute network that I'm going to build here to allow us to add more gas in with with oxide. Let's see, I think I can just grab this stack of 8. Okay, I think we're about ready to link this up. Go ahead and place that in here. Oh, labeling. I should do some labeling. I think I can access them from the outside. If that falls again, it's no biggie. Just pick it up from in there again. All right, so we're going to name this active vent GFG for gas fuel generator 1. Name this one active vent GFG 2. Pressure regulator GFG. Gas sensor GFG. But the actual GFG we're not going to rename because we should only ever really need one of them. Okay, now let's get my script in here. So I wrote this off screen. It's not something I'm really, I don't think I'll ever do on screen. Maybe make some adjustments here or there. Also, I paused it. That's quite handy to have a pause feature built right in. Okay, so kind of the basics of how MIPS works. It's a very simplistic language. So things such as this. So L, R1, L means load from into R1. So this, if you think of other coding languages where they would have something like X equals Y plus Z, that's not how this one works. If you were to write it in MIPS, I think it would be add, yep, add, and then you do, rather than X, you would do a register R0. Y is another variable, so we'll just use R1 and R2. There we go. So that would be kind of the equivalent in MIPS of that little line of code. So it's a little weird, takes a little getting used to, but yeah, so here we're loading into register 1 from the gas sensor the temperature, and here we're setting R0 to greater than, if it's greater than, or sorry, let me back up a sec here. If R1 is greater than 303, then we set R0 to a 1. Which is basically just a true, So SGT is basically saying, give me a true false based on whether one is greater than the other. So it's really weird language. And actually, one thing I forgot to do was I forgot to set the vents. Set vent 1 mode. I think outward is 0 and inward is 1. So we just want to make sure the vents are set inward. Okay, so at the top here we have a bunch of aliases. This gives me a shortcut, the D0 through D5. There isn't a D5 listed here because I didn't use it. Those are the dials on the outside of the housing. You can see in the background here. So there's 6 of them. It starts at 0 and goes to 5. And this just allows me to set, as it says, an alias. So I can reference it with text rather than the D0. Down here I could, if I felt like it, say D0 rather than GFG. But it makes a lot more sense. And if you want to move one of them around on the pin, you don't have to go back and renumber all of them. Because that happens. I did that myself. I had the gas sensor set to D2 before, and I figured, you know what, let's put the first 4 being our powered items and put the sensor last. Okay, define statBatt. Station battery. If you look on F1, I love this. There was just a patch. You can actually hit F1 now to bring up the Stationpedia from within the coding window, whereas before you couldn't. So let's look for battery, and I bring up the station battery. There's a prefab hash number here And click on that to copy it to clipboard, which is what I had done before. Now the reason that that's relevant is later down here, I do load batch. I don't load a specific item, I load a batch of them into R0 from the station battery. So it uses that hash and it goes out to the local network and it says, okay, give me all of the station batteries, and we want the ratio variable, and give me an average of all of those. So essentially, I'm just polling all the batteries. Right now we only have one, and giving the percentage value of how full it is. Okay, so now that we have that one out of the way, up here I mentioned I'm setting the mode to inward, the pressure external, so that makes sure that the chamber always has 50 kPa in it. I have got some notes here. This isn't really valid because I think the pressure you set it at depends on how long the pipe is. It says it works fine with 3 medium radiators. These are just comments to myself. Hashtags at the front say comment, so it ignores everything. The compiler ignores everything after it. But yeah, rather than having 3, I made a 4th one just in case. So as I said, yep, first thing we do once we, quick note on the reset, that's referenced later. It just turns off all the powered equipment, except of course the IC itself, because we don't want to just waste power. That would defeat the purpose of having a backup power. So here's the main loop. It's start, then we do a yield that pause execution for 1 tick. So it just kind of lets things go. Otherwise it would be looping this constantly, and eventually a tick would happen, but this one just kind of forces the tick to occur. So as we said before, we're checking the batteries. Is it less than 50%? So yeah, you can see weird code, branch relative greater than. So rather than looking for less than, I'm actually looking for a greater than. So is R0 greater than 50%? If it is, we're doing a branch relative of 3, which just says jump down 3 slots. So it would jump down to this line of code. So that's kind of why I say if it's less than. If it is less than, then we set GFG to on value of 1, which says switch me on. Whereas if we do GFG on 0, that says set the on variable to 0. Not sure how much programming experience people out there have, so I figured I'd be specific. Okay, and then down here it says branch greater than. It's not a relative in this case because we're jumping up to reset. So if R0 is greater than 0.75, so greater than 75%, then just jump back up here, turn everything off. So by that, you can probably already infer it's going to switch on when we hit 50%, and it'll turn off when we hit 75%. That gives us a little bit of buffer for the solar panels to bring in some power. A lot of power, actually. They'll probably never provide that much because I'll deplete it before it gets there. Now, this section here is for activating the vents. The gas sensor, the temperature that comes out of it is actually in Kelvin, and I kind of made a quick note here in my C script that 273 is approximately 0. It's not exact because Kelvin actually the conversion has a decimal place. I think negative 273.15, or is it? Yeah, I think that's it. That would be that in Celsius would be 0 Kelvin. Anyway, yeah, so turn on the first one if it's above 30 degrees Celsius. Turn on the second one if it's above 40. I kind of wanted to put something in here similar to this, but I I don't think it's useful. I think it ends up getting hot enough to where both of them are on all the time, depending on how hot you run it. Okay, so we're just going to hit confirm there. We're going to export that script into the IC chip. Now you can see that it actually has 821 bytes in it. Place it in there. Oh, I actually need that. Okay, I'm going to turn it on and then off again. And when I did that, it actually brings those aliases that I mentioned before onto these dials, so that you know what ones you're looking at more easily. So we're going to find the gas fuel generator for the GFG. Pressure regulator, we're going to find that right there. This is why we went through the trouble of labeling. There we go. They were kind of out of order. That's weird. Then vent 2. I don't necessarily need the vents in any specific order, but I just wanted to have them. Okay, I think we're good to go. We're going to seal that up. Oh, before I, let's say I did this before I put the glass in. You can actually get a tooltip from the gas fuel generator. It says it requires an atmosphere of 200 kPa, or sorry, 220 kPa. That is why I have the 50K minimum in the IC script. I figured it'd give it a little bit of a buffer. I think it works a little better if it has that buffer. But yes, it requires 20 kPa at 278 Kelvin to 328 Kelvin, which is between 5 and 55 degrees. Okay, now we got to prime the gas in there. That's why we grabbed this cylinder before, or canister. It's unfortunate that it has carbon dioxide in there, because as you saw with this ice thingy, carbon dioxide can freeze. Excuse me, I'm going to do something here. Scroll out and scroll back in, get that tablet in front again. But for how little there is in there, I don't think we're going to end up freezing it. There we go. So now we're going to grab this and toss those in there. Looks like we didn't lose one, which is good. I'm going to wait to connect this. So now's a good time to talk about exactly how this is going to go. The active ends pull it into this pipe network. It goes into the radiators. They are directional, but they do seem to kind of share, which is why I've got this valve in hand. They do seem to kind of share the cold a little bit back and forth, which is why I'm going to put a one-way valve here to make sure that it doesn't go back in here, mingle with this stuff, which is really cold, and then cool down in here, because the generator has to have at least 5 degrees for it to run. Okay, so this shouldn't, that doesn't have any gas in it right now, because our one-way valve is doing its job. I'm grabbing the configuration cartridge because we actually want to see how much we're providing with the generator. Take a peek here. I should have done it before, but yeah, we're definitely below 50%. I'm actually surprised it's not flashing red. Okay, let's go ahead and switch this on and see what it does. We started that at 10 kPa. Okay, it's on. It's good. Now let's swap for, or actually let's look at the pipes here quick. We got a little bit of time, so yeah, you can see it's, oh boy, that's getting nice and cold. And that cools down even more in here. You can see the freeze symbol on that CO2, which is not good. At some point I should try to get all the CO2 out of there. And then it goes in here and back into the chamber. All right, let's go ahead and switch cartridges now. And we can actually see here the pressure is holding it around 50. So our setting to that is doing some good. It's holding around 313, give or take a little bit. I think this will kind of slow down. Eventually it'll stabilize that temperature. Yeah, it looks like both of the vents are running. So this is just us using the configuration cartridge is just a way of being able to look at the stats on this, you know, rather than setting up some gas displays. So we're gonna poke our head in here and scroll down, and you can see it's power generation 2393. Now I found that you can get about 12 kilopascal, or 12 kilowatts, 12 kilowatts out of this. But I think it's because this pipe is shorter. The settings I had found before are different. Before, 16 was providing us with over 11, and right now it's only providing us with 3829. So let's see if we can prove that. Let's go maybe 32 just to test. Oh, did it? It's shutting off for some reason. What's... Oh, it's getting too hot in there. Huh. Now is when I should have a second tablet so I can look at this stuff. Okay. So yeah, this isn't doing quite enough cooling. I think I know how we can fix it though. We're gonna come over here and I don't know, let's grab maybe 10. 10 more oxide. Oh, sun's gone. Now's a good time. Let those melt in there.
Hydration critical.
Okay, yeah. So it just wasn't quite enough pressure in there. Oh, and it's actually shutting off the vents some. Good. Okay, let's look in here, see how much we're producing again. 7,000. Now the higher I can get this is why I'm actually going through the trouble of doing this. The higher we can get it, the kind of more efficient we're going to be. Because right now we're running those active vents. Okay, yeah, I can probably set it up a few more. Oh, we're done. Yeah, we're going to call it good. I can always tweak it again in the future. But yes, those active vents, those are drawing 100 watts each, so that's 200. This, I think, before I speak out of turn, let's go ahead and just bring it up. 100 watts, yep. The icy housing, I think is only 50. Yeah, 50 watts. But that one's not as important because it's always going to be on. So there we go. We just set up an emergency gas supply. Episode took a little longer than I thought. And by gas supply, obviously, I mean power, backup power. There we go. So now we should never drop below 50 degrees. Okay, I think that's gonna call it for this episode. The next episode, I'm probably going to deal with our oxygen problem because our O2 tank is running pretty low. So I guess we shall see you then. Have a good one.